All right, peace, family. Peace, 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 and black power. Can y'all hear me, family? Make sure everybody can hear me well and good. Peace and black power to the family. Let me make sure everybody can hear me well and good. Shout out to all the family coming into the building. Put a thumbs up if you can hear me. Put a thumbs up if you can hear me, family. Okay, we're gonna bring in one of the master teachers tonight. I ain't gonna do too much talking. We're gonna get right to it. You dig? We're gonna get right to it. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Miss Taylor B. Okay, shout out to all the family. Let me make sure Baba Smalls is coming in here, because we were trying to get, that's what I was trying to do before. We're trying to get our elder in here. Our elder's not that familiar with the Instagram, so I was trying to walk him through how to get on the live. Okay, we had him on here before, but we had to walk him through it again. So hopefully, Baba, if you're listening, if you can put something in the comment section below so I can find you and add you on. Okay, Baba Small, if you're listening, put something in the comment section below so I can add you on. Okay, so I can find you and add you on to the live. Hold on, let me see. Okay. All right, let me see if I can find Baba Small. Okay, you could just type anything in the comment section below. We're waiting on Baba Smalls to get in here. Where's the family listening from? Where is the family listening from? Put your name, put your city below. Put your name, put your city below while we're waiting on Baba Small. Okay. Put your name, put your city below. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. Okay, shout out to Philly, shout out to Florida, shout out to New Jersey. Okay, Philly is in here heavy tonight. Shout out to the London, UK. We got the international family in here. Shout out to NYC. Shout out to Columbus, Ohio. Shout out to all the family in the building. Okay, shout out to all the family in the building. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, I still don't see Baba Small. Baba Small, if you're listening, put something in the comment section, because you have to put something in the comment section so I can find you. It's not gonna let me just tag you in. Okay, shout out to Trinidad, shout out to Cali, shout out to Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, we're going to be talking about the Kyrie situation tonight. If you don't want to hear about the Kyrie situation, it's not the live for you. Respectfully. Okay, we don't want too many people complaining about stuff that they can control. You dig? When I don't want to watch sports anymore, I turn the channel. That's just how that works. Okay, so if you don't want to hear about the conversation anymore, turn the channel. Get off the live. Don't come on the live complaining. We don't want no negative energy in here tonight. You dig? One of our elders is coming in here trying to give us some knowledge, wisdom, and information. You dig? If you don't want to hear it, turn the channel. Okay? When I don't want to watch sports no more, I don't watch ESPN. I turn to Discovery or Animal Planet or whatever I want to watch. You dig? Let's be clear about that tonight. We don't want, because the next step is you're just going to get blocked. All right? Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing Baba in here. Dang, I might have to call him again. He might be lost. He might not see the live again. Ah, man, hold on, family. We're gonna get it right. We trying to get our elder on here. Like I say, my elder's not really used to Instagram like that. We have to hold on. Let me try to call him again, family. Let me try to call him again. Hold on. Can you hear me now, Baba?
I can hear you, but you're low.
It's really low.
You think
Okay, hold on.
I'm low also?
I can't hear you. Hold on.
Let me see.
Can y'all hear me now, family? Okay, some people are saying they can hear us now. We were actually talking through the phone. I'm tripping. We were talking through the phone. So yeah, if you got some headphones, Baba, you can put in.
Maybe I should try the headphones.
It's still very low. What you're saying is very low on my end.
Is that better? Can you hear me at all?
It's still. Can you turn up? You have a volume on the side of your phone, Baba. You can turn up the volume on your phone, the side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Like I
Better?
said, it's like, the people are saying they can hear you. I can't hear you though. It's really low.
Okay. I've got the phone turned up to max,
Okay.
unless
Oh
I need to
man.
go in and see.
Hold on. Okay, he said y'all can hear. Yeah, everybody's saying they can hear you. Mine is really low though.
So you can't hear me,
I
but
can
they
hear
can
you,
hear
but
me.
it's real low.
It's
But
really
I
low.
can rock with it because I'm not gonna do too much talking anyway.
So you want me to do talking?
Yeah. I'm gonna just ask you the questions. We here to hear the elders speak. So I'm gonna just ask you the questions and I'm gonna let you go. But
Okay.
just
But
to make sure,
but
family,
can the
y'all can
audience hear
hear.
me? Can the
Yeah,
people hear
I
me?
want them to be able to hear you. They telling you to come back in. I don't want you to get lost though if you go back out and come back in.
Okay. You want? No, I'll find my way back in. So you want me to go out and
Okay.
come back in?
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna remove you and then I'm gonna bring you back in. So stay right here. You still gonna be on the live, but I'm gonna remove
Okay.
you and come back in. You just put something in the comment section like I told you last time.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Oh man, appreciate your patience, family. Appreciate your patience. Hold on, I'm gonna try to bring them back in. Appreciate your patience, family. We trying to get it. We trying to get it right. Yeah, y'all said y'all can hear him. It's very, very low on my end though. Okay. So Baba, if you listen and put something back again in the comment section, just hello so I can find you again and I'll bring you back on. Apologize about the inconvenience, family, but great things come to those who wait. Great things come to those who wait. Because we're gonna hear our elders' message tonight. We're gonna hear the elders' message and we're gonna receive it. There we go. Hold on, let's bring you in here. Baba's right back in here. Hopefully this works. All right, I'm adding you. You should see where it says accept. Okay. The camera's back turned around again, Bob.
Okay. Let me see how do I do that again.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
All right. Your volume sounds better.
It does.
Yes, sir. Sounds a little bit better for me. Can everybody
It,
hear both of us, please? But if you can hear both of us, put thumbs up in the comment section. Okay. Everybody's putting thumbs up. There we go.
okay. So that means they can hear me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, a
So
few
truly
weeks
good.
ago,
But
go ahead, son.
thank you for coming in here, Baba. Taking a few moments to kind of grace the younger audience because a lot of people who follow me are kind of around my age in their 20s and got high schoolers on here following.
Look,
But
if you
they've been
pass 10,
asking the
you're
questions. The
old.
popular
You
questions
know,
been going on. Say again, Baba.
if you're over 10, you're old. So you know what's up.
There we go.
You know,
There we go.
so
Absolutely. But a lot of people have been asking the question about what they're doing to our brother Kyrie Irving. We've been seeing them trying to buck break him in every which direction. Even when the
right.
brother comes out and apologizes, it's never good enough. And this is kind of typical behavior amongst the so-called white Jewish community, where they try to
Right.
isolate brothers and, essentially buck break them, and we can't even say anything about them or remotely
No,
criticize them
they
without
don't
it
want
being
us to say
inconceivable.
anything. We've got to say something.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Um,
sir.
you know, first of all, he has nothing to apologize for. I'm sad that I tried to reach out to him and I couldn't reach him. I tried to get some people to reach him because I would talk to him and stand beside him. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't. The other African Americans and foundational Black Americans and Black Americans who's supposed to be a part of the sports arena, why aren't they standing up like Jimmy Brown and the others did, Abdul Jabir and others did for Muhammad Ali? You
Mm-hmm.
see, so we have to ask them. I feel sorry for the Shaqs, and I feel sorry for the what's our brothers down in Cleveland, that you can't understand that when somebody attack your brother, you don't go and attack your brother for your brother's enemy, no matter what the situation is. You go and rescue your brother,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell his attackers to back the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's an issue, deal with the family now, because you've coming at him with your family. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're going to deal with his family because he's not out here by himself.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, from what I understand, and I don't have to see the movie, I know that Hebrew Israelites were Africans, period.
Mm.
Now, the other people who are pretending to be Hebrew Israelites, but that's why they say they're Jewish. They're not Hebrews. They never proclaim, they never call themselves Hebrew Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got to be clear. We don't have to fight them about our identities. We have multiple identities. You know, it's like I was saying down in DC. I'm an African American, but I'm also a foundational Black American. Okay, I'm an African. All of those are my identities. I own all of them. I'm also a Hebrew Israelite, and if I'm not a direct Hebrew Israelite, I'm kin by blood to the Hebrew Israelite. I'm also Comitian, the ones who had the conflict with the Hebrew Israelites. All right. Well, we are one family. And we've got to be clear to the rest of the world, especially that part of the world. I don't even want to give them credibility by calling them by a label that they don't deserve. But
Mm.
the devils that took part in the slave trade with the Portuguese, the devils that betrayed the Moors in Spain when they converted to Christianity after the Moors had given them sanctuary from the Christians, the devils that ran the slave trade for the Dutch, the devils that went and ran the slave trade and ran the books for the English enslavers. And let us be clear, slavery was genocide, and we should never mention the word slavery without mentioning it as a genocide. And it wasn't a genocide that lasted uh, 5 or 10 years like the one in Germany against some white people from Germany. But Germany killed all the black peoples too. You know, the black people of Germany had a Holocaust. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
talks about them. They murdered all of them. The black people that the Germans, when they moved into North Africa in the Second World War, they murdered millions of black people. Nobody talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So those devils who feel free to attack black people anytime we call them on anything, even if we quote from a book that their own people write. Like you ever heard of Minister Farrakhan and them put out 2 books,
Mm-hmm.
um,
The secret
Secret Agreement
relations
between
between blacks
Relationship
and
between
Jews.
blacks and Jews. All the people they quote in there are Jewish. So why are they
Mm-hmm.
attacking the minister? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? They only quote Jewish authors. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, when they went after Dr. Leonard Jeffries years ago, Leonard Jeffries only quoted Jewish authors, but they didn't go after the Jewish authors. So what is the point they're making? Because they really didn't go after Leonard Jeffries. They wanted to stop something. Leonard Jeffries was trying to create, along with the Board of Regents, a curricula on African American and African history that would be in the school system throughout the state of New York. So the devils didn't want that because that would give black people the power to socialize their own youth. And thus the devils would lose control of their minds. You understand what I'm saying? So they had to pick a way to block that curricula. So they attacked the author of the curricula and say he was anti-Semitic
Mm-hmm.
and raved against him across the country. Those same devils, years earlier, when black people led by Sonny Carson, Abubadika Sonny Carson in Brooklyn, and J. Uzi and Reverend Galamison was trying to get community control over the schools in the black community, those same devils come up with one flyer with a statement that says, oh, they were being anti-Semitic. So they form a whole teachers union. You ever heard of the UFT? That was formed by the devils in response to black people trying to get community control. And they started it out by accusing those black people of being anti-Semitic. And that was the rationale to block black people from getting control of the schools in their community. So this devil has been about trying to control us and using us as a commodity for him to make money. We're a commodity as cheap labor. Now they're bringing our Latino brothers and our brothers from Africa and other places to take the cheap labor market when we refuse to do it anymore. You know, then they wanted to use us as commodity in the sports arena, gladiators, to make billions of dollars for them. Then they use us in the music industry, you know, as singing coons to make billions of dollars for them. Not that our people were coon, they were using us as coons, because our people were young, sincere people trying to make music, trying to make a living. But they were saying, we'll pay you if you use deprivated lyrics. We'll pay you if you say things into the subconscious of your people that would lead to their destruction. We'll pay you all the money you want. But don't try to call us out, or don't try to take that money like Kanye did and maybe use it for some good to help other black folks and black youth learn how to run their business in the industry. Then we're going to come after you. We're going to call you out. You're going to say DEFCON. And I served in the American military. I served in the Navy. I know the term DEFCON 1, DEFCON 2, DEFCON 3. It doesn't say death to nobody. What DEFCON means, I must protect myself. I must fortify myself against a force coming against me. That's what he said. They flipped that and said, he said death to the Jews. No, he said, I'm going to go DEFCON 3, meaning I'm going to protect myself against the Jews' onslaught that's coming after me. And they use the media that they control, that they say they don't control, to then flip the truth into a lie, then use that lie to try and destroy not just Kanye. You know, they weren't just after Ye, they were after any young black man or woman who's made capital in this industry, using that capital to free themselves from slavery. Because at the end of the day, it's still about slavery. You make all this money, but you still got to do what someone else say what someone else wants you to say, dress the way someone else wants you to dress, come to the awards that someone else wants you to come to, etc. Invest your money with who the devils want you to invest the money with. And so we got to know the devil. The devil is a word, an English word, de from the Greek doer, and evil, which means anti-nature. So a devil is one who do anti-nature behavior stuff, right? Okay. So when I'm saying a devil, I'm talking about people who behave, at least beings, I don't know whether we can call them people, but beings who behave in an anti-nature way. There's nothing more nature than black people. Everybody want to be us. They burn themselves up in the sun every day, just wanting to look like us. They want to sing like us. They want to dance like us. They want to play ball like us. They would like to think like us, but they can't, so they got to constantly use money to trap our mind to be their intellectual hierarchy, then hide us in the closet for perpetuity, like they do the black women who did the mathematics that got them into outer space, or like they did the black woman who came up with the guide thing, you know, when you got on your car, you want to find out the direction you got to go in, like they did for the black man who invented the cell phone, or for the black man who gave them the computer laptop. And we can go on, how to use our brain and then use their money to take credit for what our brain have produced. So we say, oh, you work for my company, so I own the patent to what your mind has produced. And then I go in the world and say, look at me, I'm the super white devil. Look what the super white devil has produced, you know, when the super white devils have been sucking the substance out of the black mind, okay? And so when we come back to Brother Kyrie, he's a brother who watched the movie, like Minister Farrakhan said, like many of us, Kyrie is just trying to find his identity. Why? Because the white devils took our identity away. The white devils didn't enslave us for 30 years, 20 years in a Holocaust or a genocide that lasted 20 years. They put us in a Holocaust that's lasted 500 years. You understand what it is? 500 years of raping people every day, 500 years of murdering people at will, 500 years of working people for nothing and don't pay them, 500 years of mutilating them when they try to resist you, 500 years of putting your poisonous, debilitated, low-rate rat mind into our consciousness while destroying the information that would give us a higher level God-like African consciousness. You understand? I'm God having a human experience. They understand what that means. They can't be God having a human experience because they're devils. They're just devils. And we got to stop being ashamed to call things what they are. You know, let's stop giving them the dignity. How can a murderer and a thief who murdered for 500 years your grandparents, your great-parents, your great-parents, your great-parents, rob them, rape them? You know, the ships that used to bring people from our continent of Africa during the period called slavery, the average age of the young girls was between 10 years old and 15, and everyone was raped multiple times before they reached the shores. Now multiply that by the thousands a year for 500 years. And this devil think he has any credibility to ask for an apology from us for anything? You all understand me, young folks? I'm trying to make sense now. You know, we ain't the same. I ain't trying to be the same. I ain't trying to be nobody's friend. I'm cool enough. I got a beautiful little African lady downstairs I've been with for 51 years. I'm her friend. You know what I'm saying? I got some beautiful children. I'm their friend. You know? I'm Chase's friend. He's my son. You know? I'm y'all's friend. I belong to you. You belong to me. We've got these demons who decided that we're going to attack a Kanye whenever he makes a move to develop black wealth outside of our control. So this was economic warfare against Kanye. They're saying, yes, you've got all this money. Yes, we got all these investment arrangements, but you can't use that money for anything that we don't want you to use it for. And if you try to do that, we will attack you. But first, we'll accuse you of some bogus concept called anti-Semitism. If Kanye and Kyrie was smarter than they behave, and I know they just didn't know, they should accuse these people of defamation of character. Take them to a court. Make them prove what anti-Semitism is, then make them prove that what these people have done is anti-Semitic. They can't do it. They're counting on media being the judge and the jury. They're counting on media doing the trial and conviction of someone for a crime they never commit, but only because they said the crime exists. The crime don't even exist. Right. So take them to court. Charge them with defamation of character. Tell them, prove to me, prove to the world, prove to the courts, prove to the people I've been anti-Semitic based on what you said I did. They can't prove that. Right. But they can play the games with the media and make you think they can prove it. Right. And if they lie to you enough, as devils do, you believe the devil's lie to be true.
Baba, let me ask you real quick, because I heard you say earlier they claim to be Jewish, but not the real Hebrews.
They're not Hebrews or black people. Yeah, the difference is real easy. Hebrews are black folks. Jews are white folks. Hebrews are the original people who were in black Africa, Northeast Africa, got into a conflict with some other black folks who we call the Egyptian or the Cometian. And in that conflict, a group of black folks left. They said God told them to go further into Northeast Africa, the place they've now called the Middle East. But there's no Middle West. There's no Middle South. And there's no Middle North. So how do we get a Middle East? Right. That's Northeast Africa. So these brothers go into a part further into the eastern part of Northeast Africa and built themselves a kingdom called Israel and Judea. And these kingdoms got taken over by the Greeks, the Persians, and the Romans. And what we're seeing is the remnants of the descendants of the Greeks, the Romans, and the Persians, who then got pushed out back into Europe by the Arabs, who now are coming back and saying they're the Hebrews. The Hebrews are the people you call, many of them are the people you call Palestinians. They're some of the original Hebrews. The Hebrews are the black folks who left that area and came in and went into West Africa. Some of them became the Igbos, some became other people. The Hebrews are the people who went into Ethiopia, called Bene Israel. Those black people. those who got put on the slave ships and brought to America, those are the original Hebrews population. Just to study this history and see how silly they are. Even in the literature they claim, like a Torah, there's the people are fighting against the Greek onslaught, the Roman onslaught, but guess what? They lose. So the Romans and the Greeks, they don't come with no culture of anything, so they get absorbed by the Hebrew culture. You understand? And when the Arabs and the Turks ran them out of the land, then they go and convert other people, like the whole nation called the Khazars, who were basically a mercenary Eastern European nation that fought for any size that gave them the most money. And these Khazars decided they needed the king. I forgot the king's name, but you could look it up. He decided that he needed a social ideology, which we now call religions. Islam was at war with Christianity, and Christianity at war with Islam. So they said, we don't want to go with it. Let's go with the one thing that's there that ain't at war with nobody, and that was the Hebrew tradition, which they call Judaism in Eastern Europe. And now they want to, by the virtue of converting to a ideological interpretation of the cultural history of the black Hebrews, they take that ideological interpretation and call it a religion and say, now we have a right to the land of those black people because we've run them out of their land. You know, so you got to study the Balfour Agreement after the First World War. And why did it come about? How did it come about? What is the Balfour Agreement? What did they agree upon at the forming of the League of Nations at the beginning of the First World War? Then go back a little. Balfour Agreement. Yeah, that's when they agreement with the Rothschilds and some other people to come and take the people of Palestine out of their land and bring these Eastern European people who had converted ideologically to something they call Judaism, using the book they claim was the foundation book of the Hebrew Israelites, who were the black people. And then I remember once watching a piece. Moshe Dayan, one of their great generals, used to wear a patch over his eye, and he fancied himself as being an archaeologist and an anthropologist. And he was digging up all around Israel, right? Tell him to open the museum and showed you what he found. He found nothing but black people. All right? Nothing but black people. And guess what? They all were Cometians in terms of dress, sculptors. So they know they're not the Hebrew Israelites. But they got a good game going on. It's like the white Americans in the United States. They know they're not Arapahoes or Cheyennes or Shawnees or Chickasaw or Owendale.
Right.
All right? But they tell me they're Americans. No, you ain't. Right. You're a bunch of invaders.
Right.
You invaders who have committed genocide against the people of this land, stole their land, and now you want to steal their identity by telling other people they're immigrants or they're illegal. You're telling the Native Americans you ran off of the land across the Rio Grande who wants to come back over there, they're illegal in their own ancestral land. Right. So it is that fool. See, it doesn't seem foolish if you buy their narrative, but if you stand back and look at it, you see how foolish it is. But what it is, once you form an organization like these devils have formed, under the identity that they've formed it under, and made trillions off of black people, starting with slavery, because they didn't just start with the transatlantic slave trade. Oh no, these devils were involved in the trans-Saharan slave trade. These devils was involved with the Arabs in the Indian Ocean slave trade. These devils was farmed to the North Africa, to Europe slave trade before the transatlantic slave trade. So by the time of the transatlantic slave trade, they had a well-organized machine.
Right.
On how to capture and enslave black people. You understand? And so they just study their literature. Look at the devil's literature on who owned plantations in Brazil, who owned plantations in Suriname, who owned plantations in the Caribbean, who owned plantations in South Carolina. Just go to the graveyard in South Carolina. You see the Myers and the Levine and all of them. What are they doing in 17th century graves in South Carolina? You know? You see who were the slave owners. But slavery was genocide. Slavery was worse than the Holocaust. 500 years of murder, rape, pillage, plunder, day in, day out, 24 hours with no sanctuary. No sanctuary, young people. Those were your ancestors they did this to. How dare they even raise their voice at a Kyrie? And if they thought he had said something inappropriate, so, yo, let's have a meeting, bro. Blah, 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 blah. That would have been hashed out, done. Nobody in the public would ever heard about it. But no, they wanted to attack the black race. Attacking Kyrie was an attack on the black race, an attack on African peoples, an attack on African American people. So we're going to strip you down, tie you to the pole, and give you the lashing in the public. So you can see we're boss. We got the power. You ain't got no power, fool. Because your power is wrapped up in that $1.8 trillion we spent last year. And I've told my people before, Dr. King marched, got a lot from marching, but he got more from boycotting. Dr. King got a lot from marching, but he got more from boycotting. Selectively begin to boycott your devil enemies' enterprises, and you will see a change of faith. You will see a change of attitude. So there's one, and anybody who collaborates with them in terms of merchants. We have other brothers and sisters from all over the world and some from here who run the business in our community and who treats us just like the devil treats us. Well, we could keep our money in our pocket. We don't need an extra pair of sneakers. We don't need an extra pair of jeans. We don't have to buy that fan from you. We don't need to get that stove from you. We don't need to buy the food from you. There's some brother with a market down the street. But if you want me to just to come and talk and sound like I'm bad, I ain't bad. I'm just free. You need to be free. Okay? I'm free enough to know that I'm not going to be anybody's slave. You can't buy me. You can't even kill me. Because I know who I am, and I know that I'm eternal. I know I'm forever. You are too, but you don't know. See? You don't know that you are your ancestors. All you sisters out there listening to this, you were the little girls getting raped on that ship. Yeah, you were the little girls on that ship. Because when those girls gave birth to their children, who gave birth to their children, who gave birth to their children, gave birth to you, they were all giving birth to themselves. So every one of you who are living today had somebody who was raped on that ship. Somebody who was raped on that plantation. That was you getting raped, not them. See, and if you understand your culture and you can feel the pain of your ancestors, you know what the devil looks and sounds like with your eyes closed and your nose closed. And clearly, when they attack Kyrie and they're trying to demean him in the manner they're doing, they're telling me that is the same devil who raped the people on the ship. That is the same devil who was in control of the genocide called the transatlantic slave trade. That is the same devil who ran the Ku Klux Klan. That is the same devil who killed Malcolm X's father by putting him on that train track. That is the same devil who was butt-busting hundreds of our men, thousands of our men. That's the same devil who was lynching thousands of our men and cutting them up into pieces after they burnt them up at the stake and taking the pieces of their bone home. That is the same devil who took the pictures of them burning and sent postcards to their friends. That's who you're dealing with. Only thing, just like your parents gave birth to you, giving birth to themselves, those devils, demon parents gave birth to them who gave birth to themselves. And so you're dealing with the same demons. Now, I'm trying to make this plain without getting too esoteric.
Because
I want y'all to hear me.
Because
you know,
I want to ask you this because, Baba, a lot of times what I notice they try to pull on us is the so-called Jewish community. They try to distinguish themselves from other white people. They try to distance themselves to act holier than thou, as I call it.
They could distance themselves.
They weren't involved in the slave. All they had, they just went through they're just poor little Jews that were just sitting in the back.
Listen, yeah, every Jewish person, of course, was not involved, just like every African person was not involved. We had some African persons involved, mostly under duress, some out of greed. But 99% of the people of Africa didn't even know the shit was going on. They were busy trying to save their life, getting away from the slavers, you know. And I'm sure there were some of them like that too, but too many of them was involved. See, what makes them culpable is the wealth they got from our genocide is what has built the wealth in the communities and the corporations and the banking houses and the insurance houses and the investment houses that they all living off today. So if you want to vindicate yourself, then give all that wealth as reparations to the black community and take your naked, broke, poor ass back to Europe. See, then you can have a just relationship to me. Then I'll say, I love you. You're my friend. You have done the proper thing. You have done what is appropriate. But you're going to make all that wealth off of murdering me, all that wealth off of genociding me, and they get mad when I complain about your genocide in today's terms and want me to bow to my knee to you. We know what the devil is because we are the children of God. We are the chosen children of God, the black people. How dare anybody say they're the chosen children of God? Show me your behavior in history, and I'll show you mine. Let's get the record straight. Show me your behavior in history, and I will show you mine. And let's ask who's God's chosen based on the behavior in history. Now, I'm trying to talk to the young people in a way that I don't want you to just be hating people. There's some good people out there. Truth, I got some comrades who are Jewish who I love straight up. They're my friends. We've been friends for 30-something years. I ain't fighting them, but they know that because they know me because many of them fought at my side for years. But they're institutional, genocidal, banking and investment and music industry and sports industry and legal industry, corporate structures that have made a way of life out of exploiting black people and their talents, have made a way of life in that exploitation of not allowing black people to take the wealth they make from that exploitation and use it for their own people's development. Whenever one tried to do it, from Sam Cooke being murdered, to Billie Holiday being fed dope, to John Cole, if you just look, take one at a time of just our great musicians for the last 100 years and see who was their managers. Just see what the name of the people who managed them were, or the name of the company who owned the corporation and the record label who managed them. Go back 50 years and you'll know who the devil is. Nobody got to write a book about it. You ain't got to call nobody no name. We looking for the devil. Let the chips fall where it may. Just go back. Who owned the record labels? Who was signing those draconian contracts? Who was responsible for those who fought against it ending up dead? Who were responsible for those who stood up like Sister Ruth Brown, never being able to get a record sold again when she started fighting to get the royalties paid to the black people in the music industry? When I was a child, I was in love with Ruth Brown, going in house and coming out. But the prettiest black woman on planet Earth, and could sing like any angel. But they destroyed her in the industry because she fought for her royalties.
Right.
And it was Ruth Brown who was able to get many of the black artists of the 50s and 60s their royalties paid. But we don't know her story because we don't know our history. And so I'm going to put this one on the shoulder of the young people. You can't fight the devil if you don't know who you are. You see, you can't fight the devil if you don't know how you are. Any one of our brothers and sisters who have spoke ill of Kyrie or who have spoke ill of Ye is a black person who have no respect for themselves because they don't know who they are. Say it again. Any black person, male, female, rich, poor, in between, preacher, whatever, who have spoken against Kyrie or spoken against Ye is a black person who's ignorant of who they are and have no self-respect or respect for their race and family. Because if you don't defend your race, and you don't defend your children, and you don't defend your family against whomever the enemy might be, you're unworthy. And so we need to study our history so we can get rid of the mystery, to find the devils in our lives. The devils are any group or individual or institution in your world that is against your proper development, that is against your optimal development as a human being, that is against you being able to provide food, clothing, shelter, and safety for yourself, that is against you controlling economic and controlling the politics and controlling the culture where you live. Anybody who's against that is a devil to you. You know? Don't make them bigger than they are. They're nobody. They're thieves. They're murderers. They committed genocide. 500 years. How do you do something for 500 years and go, oops, I didn't know it was wrong?
Right.
Oops, my ancestors did that. You are your ancestors.
Right.
If you didn't do it, give me all the wealth and all the opportunities you've got from it, and you going back to Europe. Go back to your caves or whatever you got over there. Give me all the wealth you made off of the genocide against me, both on and off that continent, in the Caribbean, Central, South America, for the last 500 years.
Right.
And then I might, after, like Minister Farrakhan said, watching you for some period of time, give you some sort of vindication.
Right. Right.
But until then, you're just the devil, because you're against my taking care of myself. You're against my feeding myself. You're against my clothing myself. You're against my being able to control my community. You're against my being able to educate my children myself. You're against my being able to protect my community. You're against my being able to build businesses. You're against my being able to open banks. You're against my being able to sing the lyrics that I want to sing. That if I make a record, before I can put it out, I got to bring it to Interscope or some other big record firm, and they're going to look at my lyrics and decide what they will allow me to publish of my own creativity before you will allow it to play in any of your industrial measurement tools and charts.
Right.
Stop it, people.
Let me ask
Stop
you
the
this, man.
devil, you see.
Let me ask you this, because you spitting fire right now, and the youngsters, we need to hear this. Because one of the things I always hear, and I want to ask you this: do you feel as if, as an elder, do we need friends in the black community? Do we need a rainbow coalition? Because
No.
there's always
We,
this type of talk.
the last thing we need is a rainbow coalition,
Okay,
brother.
right,
Okay. I don't even wear rainbow wristbands, okay?
right.
So,
I'm just
no.
telling you what they say. I'm just telling you what
No,
they
I
say.
understand. I asked one question. Have it worked?
Mm,
We've been
mm,
coalescing with everybody and integrating with everybody. Has it worked?
right.
All right. We were
Because a lot
better
of
off in
people are
we were
afraid to
better off in
burn bridges that already
segregation.
burnt.
We were better off in segregation than we are now.
Mm, mhm.
Study history. Let me give you a good book. I like to give books when I'm talking.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Read. It's a book by a brother named Dr. Harold Cruz. It's called Plural but Equal.
Classic.
Plural but Equal by Dr. Harold Cruz. All young people, please buy that book
Right.
and study the history of the last 50 years, and you'll see who our friends are and who the devils are.
Hmm.
And let me tell you another book written by one of their children.
Okay.
He was the editor of the Boston Globe. Of course, they fired him after he wrote the book. The book is called Broken Alliance, Turbulent Times Between Blacks and Jews. Broken
Broken
Alliance.
Alliance.
Yes,
Okay.
turbulent times between blacks and Jews. For the young people, those two books will be very informative
Hmm.
of what you're seeing and who the players are, you know.
Right.
And you'll know which person from the white community is a friend and which is an enemy. Which institution, banking or investment house that you can work with and which one you can't. Which one will give you a fair day at the table and which one won't.
Hmm. Hmm.
See, because all of them ain't criminals straight up. I
Right.
mean, America is a criminal enterprise to start with, and the corporate structure of America is built around the criminality of America itself. But
Right.
some of them,
Right.
you got people coming to the table with more principles and more morality, more credibility than others. But
Right.
some are outright vultures.
Mm.
Some are outright predators. Some are outright exploiters. And when they're exploiting black folks, and when they're being predators to black folks, when they're being sacrifices, which treat us like we're their parasites, or they treat us like we're the sacrifice and they are parasites, they have no barometers.
Hmm.
Okay? They have no boundaries on how far they will go to destroy us, demean us, belittle us. And that's what they're doing with Kyrie. Well, this kid is just a basketball player
Mm.
who simply tweeted something that he thought was of some interest in learning black history.
Right.
And you're going to take this young man, he ain't no soldier in the Black Liberation Army. I wish he was. You
Right.
know,
Right.
he ain't a member of the new Black Panther Party.
Right.
He's a basketball player and a good one
Right.
and a nice guy who have been telling young black people the right things to do for quite some time now. But y'all don't want his voice heard? So you're going to crush and destroy him? And I don't think you crushed him because it had anything to do with that movie. It had to do with the things he had been saying on social media prior to that movie. The guidance he had been giving young black people prior. Go back and go look at some of his stuff over the last year before this incident come up. That's what they wanted to crush, because young black people was listening to him as regard the system and how the system would treat them and how we should stand up and how we should judge things and measure things. And so they didn't just go after him, they're going after any young black man or woman that will dare to say, I want a better life for black people. You know, they talk about violence in the black community, gun violence. I don't know a gun that have committed any. I've owned guns all my life. My 16th birthday, my grandma gave me a box of condoms, a box of 22 shorts, and a 2-shot Derringer. That was my 16th birthday gift. I'm not going to tell you the things grandma told me to do. That was my gift for my 16th birthday. Right. Grandma was on it. You understand? Right. So, you know, you're going to go out there and do this, boy, so be careful. And you got to walk them streets with the devils, so you be careful. Here's what you need, lock and load. Okay? And my gun ain't never hurt nobody. All right?
Hold on. We lost you, Baba. We lost you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. It's like it went out for a second. Oh, now it's freezing.
Can you hear me now?
I think we're good now. I think we're good now.
Yeah, someone was trying to call me.
Okay.
What it was is like, we need to understand that this is simple. Here's what the discussion is about. We give them too much, even I've given them too much credibility. All right. Elijah Muhammad told us these people were the devil, not based on how they look, based on how they behave. Let's do that again. They're the devil not based on how they look, based on how they behave. All right? And we got to be clear about that. So we don't want to become them. You see? We want to be higher because we are the higher being. They understand we are the higher being. That's why they're constantly trying to make us the lower being. But we know we are the higher beings and they are the lower beings because of their behavior. History will erase the mystery about who they are. But young people, here's what you got to be thinking about. How are you going to provide for yourself and your children and your mates food, clothing, shelter, safety, and security as you grow in life? How are you going to control economic, politics, and culture where you live as you grow in life? How are you going to get control of the land where you live, be in charge of the labor where you live, be in charge of the resources where you live? Because guess what? The devils are trying to tell you, if you try to do that, we're going to do to you what we did to Kyrie, and we're going to do to you what we did to Ye. So you stay my slave, and don't try to get control of land, labor, and resources for yourself. You stay my slave. Don't try to control economic, politics, and culture where you live. You stay my slave. Don't try to be in charge of food, clothing, and shelter. You get your food, clothing, and shelter from me. That's what they're really saying. You understand? That's what they're really saying. And they're saying, we got the power to crush you if you try to be free, because you're still our slaves. You know, the Emancipation Proclamation that happened in America in 1865 did not free anybody. All right. It was a military document for war convenience. The 13th Amendment made an attempt in the 14th and 15th. But none of those things should have been necessary if your Constitution is as legitimate as you said, because the Constitution didn't state the race of anybody. So we should have all had the same rights from day one without question. But you use your court and illegitimize me and legitimize you, the murderer, as being the citizen, and then illegitimize the victim of the murder and the rapist as being the culprits. And you're still trying to do that same thing today. That's what makes you a devil, the doer of evil. Again, D-E and evil. Doer, D-E, evil, things which is anti-nature. So you're anti-nature. I come from an African world. Nature is my God. The cosmology and the ecology is my divine, the totality of everything. So if you're anti-nature, you're anti-God. And if you attack me just on the virtue of my being an African, you anti-God. I don't care what you're preaching or what your book says. I can write a book. Y'all want to see my book? I'm going to write a holy book tomorrow, and I'm going to distribute it. We got the technology to distribute our holy book faster today than they had back in the 11th century. So I'm going to get my holy book out here and have all y'all to read it. You know, the only thing holy about a book is the behavior of those who study the book. And if the behavior of those who study the book don't reflect what's in the book, neither they or the book can be called holy. And when you've got all of your wealth have come from murdering primarily black people, all of your wealth has come from enslaving black people, all of your wealth come from primarily exploiting black people, tell me who chose you for what?
Right.
You know, who chose you for what? In our culture, in the Akan, they said, Nana Inyami, Jinyami, none but God exists. And we're just aspect of that beautiful existence. And the fundamental question, they must be the disease aspect of that existence. So maybe you should allow yourself to be healed. Bring the wealth that you've stolen from me. Bring the wealth that you've earned from abusing and genociding me, and give that wealth to me as reparations. Reparations now. That will begin your healing process. Then come and apologize. Bring your family to me. And you and your family apologize for your 500 years of genocide against me just in North America and South America and the Caribbean. Come and apologize for the genocide of the murder of millions of my people. Come and apologize for the continual mental genocide, social genocide, and cultural genocide you carry on every day with your education unions and your control of the literature of education in America. Come and apologize for your crime against humanity. According to the Arusha, not the Arusha Accords, but the Durban Accords, and I think it was 11 or 10, the UN declared the transatlantic slave trade a crime against humanity. Okay. So that means every corporation involved in that crime should be on trial. And everyone who was the CEO and the owners of those corporations and the banking interests should all be on trial. You see? So let's do some research, black people, youngsters. Go down your community. Form groups of 5 to 10. Get a video camera. Well, we got all these cameras on our phones now. Get multiple cameras. Get a clipboard and see who owns the stores and the buildings on the blocks in your community. Write down the owners. You can write down the address and then go to City Hall, to the lands department, and get the block and lot number, and you'll see exactly who the individual or family or bank that owns those big buildings in your community. Write down who owns the stores in your community, and you'll see how much of your community is not owned by you. So they're not even communities then. They're these other people communities that you live in as a neighborhood. Y'all hearing me? See, this is what the war is really about, right? So do that. That's called mapping your community. That should be the first step. And then when you get to the stores that are owned by your people, you have a meeting, send a committee to have a meeting with them. It says, we want to change the way our spending habits and our spending practice. We want to stop spending with the people who don't reinvest the money we spend in our community. See, I don't care what your race is. You can own a business in my community if you reinvest in that community. Then you're my brother, you're my sister, you're my comrade. But you can't come in and say, well, because I look like you, or because I have a right to own a business, whether I look like you or not, you should not bother me. I don't have to spend my money with you. If you're not reinvesting in my community, then I have no obligation to spend anything with you. That's not even boycotting. That's called common sensing, right? Malcolm X told us, they come into our community and they make their money, and at the end of the day, they take that money to another part of town, invest it there, develop there, and protect themselves there. So if you want to constantly give your 1.8 trillion to your enemy, to the devil and his minions, then continue. But if you understand what this is really about, they're trying to threaten this young man with money, Mr. Ye, and say, you can't use that money the way you want it. You can't use it to help black folks. If you do, we'll destroy you. They're trying to tell the young basketball player, Kyrie, you can't speak the truth. You can't talk about your identity. Because if you talk about your identity in any way that clashes with what we've stolen from you, then we're going to destroy you. Okay? And so what we've got to be able to say is that we believe in our hearts that we should provide food, clothing, shelter, safety, and security for ourselves. We believe in our hearts that the only way to do this is to control the economic, to control the politics, to control the culture where we live. We believe in our hearts that we must control the land, labor, and resources where we live. And the way we can do this is take that capital that we are making, that 1.8 trillion, and redirect it. And one way we lead up to this and help get ourselves organized is to form groups that will map our community and see who own the businesses and the property where we live, and stop investing our money in them and let them sell those businesses to us for cheap and leave our community alone.
Let me ask you this, Baba. Because again, a popular theme that we see amongst the younger generation is they always make an example out of people we deem in our community powerful. Kanye was a billionaire. Kyrie is worth 50 million, and they break them down to the lowest level. They take away what 75% of Kanye's.
Which says neither of them were powerful. Neither of them were powerful.
So that's what I was going to ask you, Baba. What is power?
They didn't go after them.
What we should be striving to get?
Yeah, and they didn't go after them because they were powerful. They went after them because they had influence. They didn't go after them because they were powerful. They went after them because they had influence, and that they might influence you or somebody else in the community that they didn't control. Because both of these young men was under their control. So they're saying, you are now in control. How dare you break away to help your own people?
Right.
That's what this is about. You can come, I'll make you rich, but you got to spend that money back with me. You can come, I'll make you rich, but you can't influence the ones I'm keeping enslaved.
Okay.
Right? What the young people should get from this is that there's a group of people who think they have a right to control the lives of black people in America. There's this group of people who behave like demons because they think they have a right to control the daily lives of black people in America. They control whether we get wealthy or whether we stay poor. They control whether we can get to college or whether we can't. They control whether we can open a business or get a license or whether we can't. And we've given them this control. Let me show you a little secret. Look at the election that just happened. Look at the names of the Democrats who've won. What ethnic group are they from, most of them? You've got a number that small, but you've got people running for office in a cluster this big with black votes putting them in there. We're getting played out of pocket. Getting played out of pocket. Do the research. This is about you being able to provide food, clothing, shelter, and safety for yourself and your children. Somebody's saying, I'm going to be the one that determines whether you can do that or not. And if you try to do that without my consulting or without my permission, I will crush you. And so I'm going to crush the one that appears to be most powerful among you to show you how easy I can crush the rest of you. That's what this is about, to put fear and intimidation in the heart of the youth who says, I can't make it unless I give in. I can't make it unless I crawl under the feet of these things who carried out the genocide for 500 years against my ancestors, who carried out the rape, robbery, pillage, plunder for 500 years against my ancestors. I must submit to them. I submit only to God. And I tell you, submit only to God. Submit only to God. However your practice allow you to see God. God don't care what name you use, okay? God care about your behavior as a human being, okay? And so we must be clear. Secret to life is to have no fear. Everybody on the planet will leave it one day. Be recycled. But most of us have given birth to ourselves already, so our eternity is already established by the laws of nature. Yoruba, Voodoo, Akan, what do you want to call me? I love my Voodoo. I love my Akan. I love my Congo. I love my Angola. I love my Mozambique. I love my, all of it is me and you. One thing about the foundation of Black American, and this is a tribute to you. I beat you up the first time you brought that to me, but I gained a better understanding of what you were saying.
Absolutely.
The foundation of Black American represents more African gene cluster than any other group of African on the face of the earth. Because we've absorbed all of the different ethnic nations and tribes that came from Africa. Then we've absorbed the one who was the aborigine that was here. And we absorbed the ones that came over with the Malians. And we've absorbed the ones that came over on their own prior to Columbus, plus the ones that came on the ship. That's what makes us foundational Black Americans. But as I said then, we can be that without being anti any members of our family who don't understand what we understand. If you see what your brother is unable to see, you are obligated to give vision to your brother or your sister so that they will see. And that sometimes takes time, But if we can't be tolerant with our brothers and sisters, how can we then expect our enemy to be tolerant with us in any way, shape, or form? But it's our job, those of us who think we're enlightened, to protect the masses of our people. The best way to protect the masses is to teach them the truth and teach them history. Teach them the culture and value of African people, which is based on godness, no matter where we came from, no matter what name we call ourselves. We understood God is the totality of everything. That's the only way it could be. Has no beginning. There's no alpha and omega because there's no beginning and no end. Impossible for that to be if you were to have a divinity that is every and all things at once. There's not even a conceptualization of a beginning or an end. That's African culture. They could talk about their theory of one and their string theory all they want. They'll never get to this. They'll never know this. We can know this. We know it when we embrace each other. We know it when we kiss one another. We know it when we love out of our heart one another. We know it when we're willing to die for one another. We know when we're going to save the life of one another. You want to stop the killing in the streets? Killing in the streets has nothing to do with guns directly. The killing across our community has to do with poverty. Who's responsible for the poverty in our community? When you attack Kanye, that's an attack on the economic development in the Black community. Okay? When you attack Kanye, you're attacking the possibility of Black wealth. When you're attacking Kyrie, you're attacking the success possibilities in our community and the wealth development possibility in our community. You are controlling the educational system. You're producing a population that can barely read and write and get no jobs. You determine who gets the job, and you brought in an immigrant population who don't know any better because they're just trying to feed themselves and trying to eat to take my place in the job marketplace because I protested against what you were paying me and how you treated me. And so now I'm in the street with no work, no job, no skill, no nothing. So you throw me in your jail and I get abused and raped and misused and I come out bitter and angry and hopelessness. Yes, I'm going to kill somebody. Anybody would kill somebody under those circumstances. You want to stop that? Start finding a way for the people in the streets who we call in the criminals with the gun to be able to provide food, clothing, shelter, and safety for themselves and their family without having to go over to the criminal realm. And you do that by taking control of the educational institutions in your community and then supplementing them with your home education and your Friday education and your church education. And so I was one of the ones that helped move away from the church, but I'm telling you young people now, go back to the church and take it over. Go back to the churches and take it over and run it. They're the biggest institutions in our community. You have the ear of more than 90% of Black people for anything you want to do. And we've left it to the collaborators. All of them are not collaborators.
Right. I was going to ask
too many are.
Do you think it needs to be a return to the farmland, return to the
Absolutely.
high-skilled labor, not necessarily taking a
We
college route?
We need all of it. Most of us don't go to college anyway. Most of no group goes to college. But we failed to train that group that don't go to college because we're not in control of the educational system that produced the group. That's your basic public educational institution. It's not theirs, it's ours. But we fail to get control. We don't even go to the PTA meetings, especially the brothers. We leave our children to the enemy. And what we get at the end of the day is a product that's not able to take care of itself. And it'll end up turning on itself because the system will abuse them in such a way that it'll have no choice but to turn on itself. That means they're going to turn on me and you because we are itself. I hope you all understand what I'm saying, folks. You know. So this isn't just about Kyrie. Kyrie is a symbol of you. They're telling Kyrie that you, young black man, do not stand up as a black man in America as long as we're paying you. Saying to Kanye, you remember Kanye was talking a couple of months before that thing happened about breaking those contracts and doing his own thing. He had that discussion, it was all over the internet. And then that thing happened. Because they're telling Kanye, how dare you to take the wealth that we've allowed you to make and go use it for black folks? How dare you? We didn't give you permission to do that. And so they went after him. Not him. They went after any Kanye. By whatever name, they're trying to take the wealth that has been made in collaboration with these devils and use it for black folks' development. And they're trying to tell this young black athlete, you are not going to take your popularity to teach young black people how to be better, do better, unless we tell you when to do it. And for those others like LeBron and Shaq, have you forgot how the devil treated you all years ago? LeBron, when you remember when you came out of high school and you didn't go to college, they treated you like you were trash. But you went out there and proved that you were better. And now because you've got wealth, you're going to sit with the collaborators who tried to destroy you and your mom?
How do we deal with those brothers like that or sisters like that? How do we deal with collaborators?
Well, you deal with them by understanding that they're as ignorant as the people we're fighting against. You don't kill your own kind. I mean, there's a certain class of collaborators you got to handle. The law of nature will tell you that. But I think Minister Farrakhan said we've got to learn to pull them in. We got to have dialogue with them. How did you miss that Tyree is your younger brother? And instead of opening your mouth in a critical way and you don't even know what the deal is, you should have got on a plane and went to him and say, hey, little bro, come on in here. We got to talk. What's up? That's what a man does. That's what an African man does. I had some beef with Foundation Black American. Didn't I? I even beat you up my own child, right?
Right.
But wasn't I down in D.C.?
Absolutely.
Didn't I come in D.C.?
You came through.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Not just come through. I came and I talked with Tariq and told him what I thought was negative and what I thought was positive. And if we're going to move forward together as brothers, let's do it.
Right.
And I went out there and supported what we were there because reparations, all of us needed.
Right.
It's owed to us. We're going to get our reparations. And we're going to get control of the country that we built. Little do we know we control it now. The black vote just won all those seats for the Democrats. No party that's in office has ever retained power in the Senate and the House in the last 40-something years. But thanks to the black vote and the black youth vote, we just took the Democrats to a whole nother level of history they've never been to before. But we must demand on them that this is your last shot. Next time, we sit on at home and let you get your ass whipped. We've shown you we got the power. Now we can show you how we can use that power by going out there or pulling it back. Or, if we're able to, we will run our candidates, foundational Black Americans that we pick for these offices, and not the one the party produces for these offices, so that we control the economic politics where we live. That's what this thing against Kyrie and against Ye is about. Telling the black youth, you have no power. Even if I give you $2 billion, you still have no power, and I'll take it all away in a day. And we have to tell them, hell no, that ain't so. Hell no, you will not do that. These are mine. I will decide whether they're right or wrong, not you. You don't come to me and tell me my brother is wrong, not my enemy. There was a good battle, and I'll end with this. It's a battle called the Battle of Islamabad. It was fought in Islamabad. It was in South Africa, and the battle was fought by a general named Bambata, one of the kings of the Zulu. Now, before the Islamabad battle took place, there was a guy who was the prime minister in England called Robespierre. Well, they had sent all these British soldiers to South Africa to crush the black people. So on one day, a couple of wives of one of the minor kings had a beef with the king. So they ran over to the British military camp and says, you know, our king has been abusive to us or rough on us. So the British military, when the king come with his men and says, I want my wives, they say, you can't have them. They came to us, yada, yada, yada. The king says, I want my wife. They said no. So he killed them all and took their wives. Right. Okay? So then the British army comes under their big general with a couple of thousand strong, close to 3,000 men. And they went to see Bambata, the king of the Zulu, and said, we want that king, your divisional king, and we want to try him for killing our people. And Bambata said no. And they said, then it will be war. And he said, fine. And he killed 2,000 of them in one day. It caused the Robespierre government in England to crumble. Because the folks in England says, are you out of your mind? You sent our young man over to Africa where you said this was a piece of cake, and now 2,000 of them are coming home dead? So they kicked him out. They teach us about Robespierre, but they never tell you why the government fell. Well, it fell because of the Battle of Islamabad. Because black folks say, enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Is that where they introduced the Gatling gun?
They would introduce the Gatling gun later against right. What was the king? Another Zulu king. Not Bambata. Yes, it'll come to me. But that's right. The Gatling gun was their margin of victory. Weapons has always been their margin of victory. But see, we got the greatest weapon in the world. Stephen Biko said what? The greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is what? The mind. The mind of the oppressed. The greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. So let's take our minds back from the devil people who've been attacking Kanye. Let's take our minds back from the devil people who've been attacking Kyrie. Because that's the greatest weapon they have. If we take our minds back, here's how we do it. We tell Adidas, you ain't buying no more sneakers, buddy. You tell the other sneaker company, sell your sneaker in Asia where you had it made for $2. And you're selling it to me for $150. Because we ain't buying it. You tell those the people who run Madison Square Garden, we're not going to pay and come and watch your games. So you're going to have to let all those hundreds and hundreds of people you got working go. And you're not going to make the millions of dollars you're making. See, we got to take control of our minds back. When you take control of your minds back, you do what Dr. King do. You make boycotting pay. Make boycotting pay. I ain't got to fight you. You got a policeman and all that. I ain't coming out there with no sticks and no guns. I can't beat you there. But I can sit at home, hold my baby in my arm, tell stories to my children, read some African history, and we can have a nice dinner, and I don't spend my money with you. Absolutely. Let's see how long you're going to stand. And oh, guess what? Wherever there are black banks, I'm going to just kind of remove my savings from your banks and move it over to this black bank. But we're going to tell the black bank, be very clear. Either you use that money appropriately in the black community or we'll move it back to the white bank. Right. You understand? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Secret to life is to have no fear. Absolutely. It's not as complicated as you think. What they did to Ye, nothing complicated about that. They're trying to scare black people. They're trying to tell black people how to spend their money and how to use their money. They're trying to say no matter how much money you got, you can't stand up against us. Really? If you look at Ye, he has not really backed down. All right? He has not bowed down to them. No, let's not get bamboozled by their media. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to break young Kyrie. But I'm telling the black basketball players, baseball players, football players, whatever other players. Y'all need to do what Jimmy Brown and them did when they surrounded Muhammad Ali.
Right.
You need to do what Abdul-Jabbar and Brown and them did when they surrounded Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Show your manhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Don't just let your manhood be the commercials you do and acting like a jigaboo.
Right.
Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You're making your jigaboo money, that's cool. If that's what it takes to make some money, it's cool. It's a commercial. I understand that. I can get in some little car and ride around. Okay. But let's come to the principle of being a human being and being a man. Your brother is under attack, and you're going to join the attackers and attack him? And then you want young black men and women to look up to you as a figure of integrity? You know, there's nothing integral about someone who doesn't have the common sense to protect his own family. Kyrie is your family. Protect him first, then figure out what the problem is. Ye is your family. Protect him first, then we'll figure out what the problem is. When you do that, the enemy will back up, because he'll understand that the jig is up. You can't keep faking. And because of your fear and intimidation, you get over. Secret to life is to have no fear. Remember, young people, you got to provide yourself and your family food, clothing, shelter, safety. You can't do this without control economic politics and culture. You can't control your economic politics and culture if some white man's going to tell you how you spend your money when you make it. All right? You can't get control of land, labor, and resources if when you become a big name in sports and you want to be able to influence the youth to tell them that, you know, you need to become a carpenter. Somebody, well, I don't want to be no carpenter. Tell me a house that's being built that don't require a carpenter. Tell me a house that's being built that don't require an electrician. Tell me a house that's being built that don't require a plumber. Guarantee work for the rest of your life. You build all kinds of companies like others who are exploiting you are doing. That's what they're messing with. They're telling you that the only role you have in America is to be a slave to some white folks who behave like devils. I didn't make them behave that way. I'm just labeling what I'm seeing. When you attack a young boy like that young basketball player is being attacked, that's demonic. You didn't attack the people who are distributing the movie. You didn't attack the people who produced the movie. You didn't attack the people who financed the movie. You didn't attack the people who wrote the movie. You attack a kid who tweeted the movie. Give me a break. And then got people who are supposed to be intelligent human beings going along with that kind of behavior. Because you scream the person's being anti-what? Go to court with them and let them prove that that anti-whatever they're saying has any credibility in a court of law. And the people who suspended you from your basketball team have violated your contract. You didn't violate theirs. Make them pay you your back pay for breaking a contract that you no longer have an obligation to, and they're obligated to pay you the full cost of that contract. But you need some legal help. Where's the black legal people? Why haven't y'all run to that child's side? Secret to life is to have no fear. You know? Absolutely. Again, this is all about love and about family. You know? Irish people don't apologize for being Irish. Chinese people don't apologize for being Chinese. Koreans don't apologize for being Koreans. But black folks is always trying to apologize for being black. Italians don't apologize for being Italians. You know? And those other devils don't apologize for being the devils they are. Yes, sir. But we are always trying to show how we ain't that black. You know, we ain't black united. You know what? We ain't black together. Yet we make more money than almost any other ethnic group in America. We make more money than Saudi Arabia. Yeah, black Americans spent more money last year than Saudi Arabia had to spend with all that oil. You made more money, had more money to spend than France, who's stealing the money they do have from the African nation. We made more money than Russia under Putin. under Putin had to spend last year. So you ain't poor. Like I said in D.C., you have to learn how to turn your riches into your wealth. The way you turn how to turn your riches into wealth is learn how to use your money to develop the economic, politics, and culture where you live. Not to use it to develop the young Arab man's store, because he doesn't spend his money for the most part in your community, or the Chinese store. He doesn't spend his money in your community, or the Korean store. He doesn't spend his money in your community, or the devil white people. They don't spend their money in your community. They take that money to another community. So you're not obligated to spend anything with them. All right? That's what this is all about. It ain't nothing but something personal between Kanye and they and Ye this and that. That's the conversation you want them to have. What they was doing to Ye is to intimidate him with all the wealth he had to show you, no matter what you make, you better submit to them. Bunch of ungrateful thieves and murderers and purveyors of genocide against African peoples. How dare they to ask for an apology for anything when they haven't even begun to apologize to us for the hundreds of years of genocide that they participated in willingly and fully and got the rewards from with the rest of the white Christian and Muslim, Turkish and Arab world. And I'm not exempting nobody. The Arab Muslim world, the Arab Turkish world, the European Christian world, the American Christian world, the world Jewish world. You've all participated willingly in my genocide and still doing so. It didn't end in 500 years. It's only been that it's been going on for 500 years. What you're doing to Kanye is a continuation of that genocide. What you're doing to Kyrie is a continuation of the genocide. Now, you don't have to stop. Like the minister said, God will stop you. You know, we need to let them understand that voodoo, they can make jokes about voodoo all they want. Okay? They can get dolls and stick little pins and make a little movie all they want. But voodoo can make the cloud rain, you know? You can poison the air all you want. Nature will clean her air in time, but you will die from the poison air that you create. You know?
Yes, sir.
So my young people, think, you want to be a nation? Get control of the economics.
Right.
Get control of the politics. Get control of the culture where you live. To do that, you got to get control of land, labor, and resources. And I know a lot of young people say, well, I'm not going to vote. I don't see any reason. Make a reason and run your damn selves. Because if you don't take control of the institutions that people get voted into, then somebody else is making the rules, the regulation, and the laws that's governing your life and they're determining how much capital come back to your community from your tax money to help enhance your life. So if you're not controlling that, then somebody else is. And it's usually the devils or their collaborators. Okay?
100%.
So prepare yourselves to run for office. Learn how the electoral system works. Learn the voting laws in your community. Master them. And then run foundational Black American youth who understand what we're fighting for, who understand why we need reparations. Run them for the city council. Run them for the school board. Run them for the land management board. All right? So we can take over our community. Run them for the water commissioner. You understand? So we run our community instead of the they. Even if the theys have black face. We don't want the black face theys nor the white face they running our community. Let them run their community, but not ours.
Yeah.
But we can't do that unless we're willing to pay the price to take the responsibility to run these communities ourselves. And you can't run it if you don't use the apparatus that's available to take control of it. We got the money, but we're not using it properly. So reach out to an organization like Brother Boyce Watkins and begin to develop economic workshops so we can study how to best invest our monies in our communities. Economic workshops so we can study how to show families how to best bank their money and create a savings. We can do that. That's not difficult to do. There's a few of us meeting in one another's homes on the weekend and doing the due diligence and study. And so we're going to teach the rest of the community how to do this.
100%.
That's what this is really about. Are we going to remain their slaves? And anytime one of us stand up, they can smack us down and everybody else just run around crying. Or we can take control of our destiny and get control of the economic, politics, and culture where we live.
Well said.
As simple as that,
Well said.
you know?
Thank you, Baba. Thank you so much for, blessing us with your time. I know
Yes, sir.
we didn't even get a time limit tonight, but, I want to keep it right there, hour and a half. And you got to come
Yes, sir.
back on here again, to bless the family with your presence.
Right. I just want to tell the youth that us elders, we've never abandoned you. Most of my comrades are dead and gone, but they spend their whole life fighting for you.
Right.
Read their work. Read Asa Hilliard. Read Dr. Jeffries, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Francis Welsing, Dr. Shashi McIntyre. Read all of the great black men and women just from a generation ago, the instructions they left for you on how to save yourself.
Right.
We left you instructions, but it's in the books.
Right.
Read Dr. Claude Anderson. He left you the economic instructions to save yourself. Your ancestors and your elders never abandoned you. I may not know how to go like yo, 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 and I can't speak your colloquial language, but my heart speaks my love for you. You know, my heart tell you you belong to me, and I belong to you. At 77, I'm still out here trying to do whatever I can to help you.
Yes, sir.
Till my days end.
Yes, sir.
You know, to me, that's the love I got. That's the love I know. So y'all build the world y'all want to see, and build the world into what y'all want it to be, and let nobody or nothing stop you. And the secret to life is to have no fear. Fear nothing, not even God, because you don't need to fear your gods. You only need to listen to it and act like it. You know. I know that sounds kind of hard, but y'all will figure that one out.
No, Bobby. Listen, this is gonna be ones. I'm gonna say this live and put it on the YouTube because people gonna have to watch the playback. They gotta let it marinate, in the spirits. Sometimes we hear stuff and it kind of go over our head. We don't even understand the significance of it. But we're gonna go back and definitely listen to the playback. Go back and listen. And like I say, we appreciate you, Baba. We love you, and we gotta have you on here again. I gotta talk to you on the phone so we can get a schedule on coming
Yes,
on
sir,
here.
Brother Chase.
Just giving us some knowledge and wisdom.
But I'm honored any chance to speak to our children and our family because we have to figure a way out of this thing. Now, most of us, let me end with this, Chase. Most of us are not impoverished, and most of us are not unemployed, and most of us are not broke and poor, but we do have people in that situation. And because they're in that situation and they're hurting the rest of us. So the way to stop them from hurting the rest of us, we've got to help them get rid of their hurt. You understand? And that's what leadership is all about. Fix the broken ones, fix the fractured ones, and they'll help you fix the other broken ones and the other fractured ones.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. Peace and
I
blessings.
love you, Baba, and I'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Peace. All right. All right, family. That was an epic live right there. We had one of the elders chime in. Yeah, I forgot to get Baba's cash out just in case, and I'm usually on top of that type of stuff. This was kind of last minute. We talked about it this weekend, but it was last minute. Usually I have all that stuff prepared, but I'm gonna get Baba on some more. You dig? I'm gonna get Baba on some more, and we gotta start putting some money in our elders' pockets, not because they asked us to, just to show love and support. Just to show love and support because he just gave you, you know, decades worth of game, decades worth of game. So thanks to all the family for tuning in. Thanks for showing the love and support. We got to continue to fight the good fight. I'll probably be on here tomorrow maybe. I got to bring Baba Kaba on as well. Got to bring some more elders. Who are some more elders that I need to bring on before I get off of here? Who are some more elders that y'all want to see on here? Okay. Who are some more elders that y'all want to see on here? You dig? And don't say nobody y'all know I ain't got no access to. And we talking about Shaka Khan and all that type of stuff. Okay, somebody that's within the conscious space that I could get access to and bring them on here. You dig? Yeah, me Al Heyman and people that ain't nobody seen in 30 years, you know. Give me somebody, Shahrazad Ali. I can get in contact with Queen Mother Shahrazad Ali to bring her on here. Um, Bobby Hemmett. Is Bobby Hemmett still alive? Is Bobby Hemmett still alive? Respectfully ask, because I've heard he's transitioned. Some people say he's sick. He's still alive. He's just under the radar. Yeah, I gotta bring Big Bro on here. I gotta bring Tariq on here one time. One time. You know, our brother Tariq be on the Twitter spaces heavy. You know, he be on the lives like that no more. I gotta hit up Big Bro. Yes, indeed. Yeah, man. Listen, man. The people are listening. The people are listening. I keep telling y'all, man. These messages are powerful, man. Shout out to the brother Kyrie. Kyrie follows this page. Kyrie might have heard this live tonight. This might have give him some inspiration. You dig? Shout out to our brother Kyrie, bro. Kyrie, if you're listening, hit my line. I know you've been busy, but hit my line. You dig? But y'all never know who listening, man. Listen, we not that far away from the revolution that we've been talking about. We that close, family. We just got to take that final step. We just got to take that final step. Yeah, I got to get Brother 19 Keys on here as well. Red pill, blue pill, absolutely. Brother Panic, I've been hearing that name a lot. I got to get him on here. Okay. Brother Jason Seals. I'm not familiar with Brother Jason Seals out of Oakland. Okay. Not that familiar with him. I would love to get Dr. Claude Anderson on him too, but Dr. Claude Anderson is very sick. I ain't gonna say very sick, but he's sick. He's sick right now, so I don't know if he can, get on lives like that. You dig, Sister Soldier? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Anthony Browder, his daughter, David Banner. Yeah, we gonna get some people on here. I gotta get Brother Reeves on here. That's long overdue as well. I gotta hit my brother Reeves up. I gotta get Brother Reeves on here because shit, every time I say I'm gonna get him on here, his page get terminated and I gotta find his page again. So that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing. But listen, family, I'm about to get out of here. I hope y'all enjoyed the live tonight. I'm going to save the live. I'm going to keep it on the page a couple hours because y'all know when we drop in heavy knowledge like that, Instagram will take it off the page. So I'm going to keep it on the page for a couple hours. Then I'm going to put it on my YouTube page. My YouTube page is Voice of the Ancestors Chase. Voice of the Ancestors Chase. You dig? The hat is from Body of God. That's our health and wellness company. All 100% black owned. Our natural herbs company, y'all check that out. Body of God Health, that's the hat. The hat might be coming soon. You never know. You dig? But we everything black from now on. Everything dripped out black from now on. You dig? So go follow at Body of God Health if you want to, check out our health and herbs supplements, different things like that. But until next time, family, y'all know what it is, man. Peace and black power. I'm out.